So there's the mailbox off the porch. I don't think Father was any too happy with that day. The other person that Mchugh always loved was the mailman. The mailman always had something for him. So whenever the mailman would come along, Mchugh was the first one out to go over and to greet the mailman. However, the UPS man was not welcome. He came in that brown truck, and for whatever reason, Mchugh did not like that brown truck, and he barked to the point that the UPS man used to leave the packages out at the bottom of the driveway. He wouldn't come anywhere near. He wouldn't come up because the dog was kind of big, and unless you really knew what a little, softy he was, he'd leave the packages down at the bottom of the driveway rather than come in. There's one other thing I remember about him. Oh, Roger and Sally had a cat, and that cat used to come and he'd torment Mchugh. He'd come over so far because he knew Mchugh was on a chain. The chain would only go so far, so the cat would come over and he'd just devil him, And when he knew Mchugh couldn't get any farther, well, one day, oh glory be, I don't know how it happened, but Mchugh was loose, and the cat came over. And Mchugh took off after the cat. He chased the cat home. The cat had a heart attack the next day and passed away. We think, got the bunny, now he got the cat. I mean, he did some funny things. There was always Mchugh's sleeping habits. When we first brought him home, I thought he would sleep in the laundry room. Okay. And then eventually he made his way up into the kitchen. We had a gate there so that he couldn't get through. And finally Bob said to me one day, now he said, he's one of the family, so he should be allowed in the family room. So now he moves down to the family room. Of course, to get to the family room, you have to go through the dining room and the living room. Well, pretty soon the whole house was his, and he just pretty much laid down wherever he felt like laying down and whenever he felt like doing it. As a puppy, if I'd lay down and take a nap in the afternoon or something, he'd get up on the bed right next to me and he'd be right there. Through the middle years, though, he'd lay in the room with you, but he wasn't interested in the bed till he was about, I guess maybe about 13, 14 in those years. Now he decided he wanted to sleep with us. But, now you got to realize that when Mchugh slept, he laid over with the paws out like this, okay? So he'd get up on the bed, and God forbid, but we both had to get to bed before he did, because if he didn't, forget it, because you were out. You didn't get in. However, he'd get up, he'd get on the bottom of the bed, and instead of lying parallel with you, he'd lie across the whole bottom of the bed, paws out. So what used to happen was, with Bob and I would be in bed, here we'd be, our bodies would be this way, and our feet would be hanging out because there was no room, because the dog took the whole bottom of the bed. And that was it until, I guess maybe his last year, when we got the new mattresses and he couldn't jump up on them anymore. Of course, it was, I guess by that time, even the furniture, he no longer would jump up on the sofa or on the chair that he had claimed. He pretty much just laid on the floor then by you. And there's one final thing. In his last year, I don't know how it happened, how it started, but we'd be sitting downstairs, and whenever he'd go out, and he used to make several trips out at night, he would just devil Bob. He would go out 5 or 6 times at night. But there was always one time, and I used to teach him, depends what time it is, because he could never do it before 8 o'clock. He would come over, and he would get his peppermint patty. The little individual ones that we'd have a bag of them. He would get his, and you had to break it apart. Oh, you had to break his food apart. That dog wouldn't have, that was too big for him. That was the size of $50. What are you talking about? Had to break everything apart to give to him. And he would sit there and he'd eat every little piece of it. And if you ignored him or pretended, if it didn't work, that I told him it wasn't time yet, he would walk around to the side of my chair and put his nose right down in the basket where he knew the peppermint patties were, because that was his treat, and he had to get his peppermint patty every night.